I started drinking about 17 to 18 litres of water a day. So we thought that was a little odd. I was getting up maybe 9-10 times a night.
We just went to our local GP, who happened to be a student just learning, and he said, look, I really think it's something called diabetes insipidus, which we'd never heard of, drinking a lot of water, and he pushed it and was great to get us straight into a local hospital.
I had a scan and they found, well, the tumour, which we didn't know at the time. And that sort of went on for 18 months. I was in and out of hospital here and the Mater Hospital in Brisbane here.
But once he started to lose that first hormone that made him drink, because it sort of then, every other hormone started to drop off. He lost his thyroid hormones, he lost his growth hormone, he lost his testosterone. So everything started to go wrong for him.
They were starting to get more and more worried. I think they could see there was an underlying problem. It wasn't just some phenomenon that's taken my hormones away. And they were replacing it, and I couldn't understand why that wasn't good enough. I think Mum tried to explain to me at one point that there's an underlying problem. I was like, well, they've given me the medication to help it. Isn't that okay now? And
then we walked in to Dr. Martin Wood, who's a neurosurgeon's office one day, and he just looked at the scans on the screen and said, it's cancer, you've got a brain tumour. And we hadn't heard cancer mentioned anywhere, so that was a real shock to just hear that and then think, and Nathan came straight out and said, am I going to die? And Martin Wood said, well, if you don't have treatment, well, yes, you will. So from there, everything, you just switch off. None of else, I think, of what he said that day actually sunk in. I don't remember what he said. You just switch off and go, oh, what do we do now? And then we packed up and went home and waited for the phone call to say, come back to Brisbane and start treatment. I was at work, went straight back to work, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I got the phone call, can you be back at the hospital by 2?
I was at school and Mum came into the classroom and she said that Nathan had to be at Brisbane, and Jamie and I went to Grandma's house, and yeah, then they just left.
I think it was automatically, one of us has got to go with him and somehow stay in Brisbane. You earn more than I do, you're staying. So he stayed, and it was pretty much that we had to go. The first thing that goes through your head, horrible as it is how do we survive financially? You can't work, you've got other children, you've got a mortgage, you've got a car, and you think, what are we going to do? And that's your first concern, is where are we going to live and what are we going to do for money? And then you think, I can't think about this, I need to think about my child and getting this child better. But yeah, the day to day, I need money, we need food, we need somewhere to stay. They're the things that play on your mind.
We ended up losing our house towards the end of our treatment. My treatment, when like we didn't have enough money, we put the mortgage on hold and it got too overdone, and because Mum couldn't work, she was with me the whole time. Yeah, Dad was running between places, and grandparents were all over the place too. Sort of ended up ripping them apart, ripping the whole family apart.
His treatment all up, I think, had a huge impact on them. They were very small at the time. They would have been 10 and 11. So for them, they were very young, and it was probably very hard to understand why all of a sudden we just up and left, and Nathan was now the favourite child, and Nathan got everything. And
everyone was worried about me. And you know what little people are like, when the attention's on someone else, they feel like they're missing out. And I think that, like, I feel super guilty for that, but I think they got neglected a fair bit.
They had to miss out, and I think it was really hard for them they missed out on probably more than he did. The sick child receives a lot of attention, and they get given a lot of things, which helps them through their treatment, and they need that. They need that to boost their spirits.
Well, as I finished treatment, it was quite hard to even look at them. I just felt so guilty about it. I was with my uncle. He lives out at Ipswich for about a month and a half. He has 7 kids, so the infection rate was really great out there. It just wasn't working for us, especially when I was an outpatient. I'd come in and have chemo and then have to drive to Ipswich to go home, and it was awful. Stuck in the traffic each morning, and they used to give me like an anti-diuretic, so that makes you wee, because like I was having blood products and all that sort of stuff really early on, and like it's maybe like an hour out to Ipswich, but with the traffic, count 2.5 hours, so it was quite painful, awful, and as I said, the infection rate up out of my uncle's house. I mean, I would be forever grateful for them. They put a roof over our heads.
We heard there was this magic organisation that had units just down the road where you can stay and you can walk up to the hospital, and how good that would be, and that's just like a dream come true when you're looking for somewhere to stay.
Then we applied to get in here and went on a waiting list, and
I got a magic phone call from Margie, and she just said, "Oh, you're on our waiting list and a unit's become available. Would you like to come down and have a look and see if it's okay?" So I got straight down the hill, nearly ran down the hill to come down and meet Margie and have a look, and the fantastic unit that we stayed in here was just unbelievable. And to think that we could do that, Nathan and I, when we weren't at the hospital, could stay here where we could walk up the hill, was just fantastic. And then to know that the rest of the family could come and stay every weekend if they wanted to, school holidays, whenever they needed to. We could cook our own food, do our washing, everything in it. It's like a home away from home.
it was just the best thing. Just the convenience of it all, and the nicest people. We actually have a group now, we call ourselves the Purple Family. They were all the people that were here when we were here, so we made quite close-knit friends with all those guys.
Once we moved in here, it was fantastic because Nathan did the majority of his chemo treatment as an outpatient. We only had a few stints where we stayed in hospital for some stronger chemo. So the trip to the hospital every day is just a push up the hill in a wheelchair rather than an hour and a half in the traffic or anything like that. And it meant that I no longer needed a car. The car could go back home to my husband and daughters so they could come up and visit every weekend. And that put the family unit back together in one respect, that at least we spent some time back together. But to be able to be that close, if he was unwell, you straight up the hill, straight to emergency. You know, somebody from here would give you a ride up in the bus if need be, or if it was in the middle of the night, you could certainly get to the hospital very quickly and get treatment that you needed very quickly. And if you needed to be up and down multiple times in one day for an appointment, you're not just waiting around in the hospital, you can come home. He can sleep, he can eat, he can have whatever strange food children seem to like while they're on chemo. They can cook whatever they like. And then he can still, when fitted in and well enough, fit in a little bit of schoolwork or a little bit of downtime. And you've got your own privacy if you need it. If you don't want to talk to anyone, you can close the door and you're away from everyone. If you want to mingle with the other families, they're there for support, and everyone supports each other. We're all in the same boat. CCS is like it's part of our family, not even our second family. We feel like it's part of our family. We spent the best part of 6 months here, which is not as long as some families, but it's a really long time. And when you're here every day with those same people, it's like your family. You feel everyone else's pain, you share everyone else's happiness, and to come back here brings it all back. But that's a good thing. It's a good thing to be a part of it and to feel involved and to share it with other people. Not only the staff here are incredibly special, as are all the families that you meet. Everybody is just unbelievable. And without CCS, I don't know that Nathan would have got through his treatment as easily as he did.
I can confidently say that I wouldn't be here today without the CCS charity.